Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to windy, cold, oh my gosh, Wyoming. So if you see a stray wood chip here or there, it's because I just brought in wood. The wood stove is going full tilt because it is freezing outside. So today this is just going to be a short video to show you how I make flowers for the front of my cards. And we're going to be making a card here shortly that's going to require a flower. So on my Cricut with the Flower Shop cartridge, I've just cut out 5 of these little flowers, and you can use whatever flower you want, though I found that 5 or 6 petals works best. And I cut them out. I cut 2 in a large size, 2 in a medium size, and 1 in a small size, and then a surprise for the middle. So I'll show you that here shortly. But I wanted to show you how I made them. And so we have our 5 cut out shapes. Okay, and this I'm starting with a 2-inch piece, so they go down from there in 1/2-inch increments. So the way I begin is I take them off my Cricut mat, and then I get some ink, and in this case we're going to be using our new Memento pad in Rosebud. And I just ink the edges of these petals. Okay. Just to give it kind of a, what flower have you ever seen that's like all perfectly symmetrically one color? So just to give it a little bit of color. And we would do that to all 5 of our pieces, right? Then we would bring in, this is my homemade piercing mat, which is really just fun foam with a sticky backside folded over on itself, but it works really good. So, and it's like less than $1, and we all know I love stuff that's $1 or less. All right, and then I'm going to take my Sharpie marker, and I'm not going to color on it. I'm going to use the round bottom here. And I'm going to smush the petals. I'm going to just kind of like go on the petals. See how it's like lifting the petals up when I do that? So I just kind of start at the top of the petal and work my way toward the center. And I do that for every petal. Okay, and then in the center, I just go round and round and round in a circle, and it cups my flower all up for me. Now, when they're smaller sizes, you may not have to do the petals, but you can. I mean, just to give it more dimension. You definitely can do all of the petals. And so we've got that one done, and beforehand, I did the other large one and my 2 medium-sized ones, and my little one, and our center surprise, which is a spiral. And I'll show you how we're going to do that up. But we are going to, I got some glue dots yesterday, these teeny little glue dots, 5mm, 3/16 of an inch, and we're going to employ some of these little guys in putting our flower together today, because I usually use hot glue, but then you wind up with all those stringy things, which I can't stand. So this is really easy, actually. We are going to take our bottom large one, put a glue dot in the center, and then we're going to take our next large one, stagger the petals, and put it right down over that glue dot. Okay? So now we have this staggered petal going on. All right, and we need another glue dot, and we're going to put that right in the center, and take one of our medium-sized ones, stagger the petals, and put it down in the center of that. Okay, and we're just going to keep stacking our petals by size, staggering them the best we can as we go until we get to our, I love these teeny little glue dots. Oh, they're awesome. Okay, here we get to the center. So there we have got our layered flower. Now, you can fluff this up quite a bit just by drawing these petals in. And you're going to have to excuse me because it's freezing here today. There's a fire going upstairs, which means the furnace is not coming on. which means that down here in my craft room, it is freezing cold. And my fingers are just a little bit numb right now. So you just can fluff these petals up, okay? And then some people on the bottom even take their fingers and fold these out. Or you can use a bone folder to just kind of like make them curled, sort of, any way you want to. So you can basically manipulate the petals on your flowers any way you want. So in any case, and I'll tell you what I do most of the time, and most people go, oh my God, why are you doing that? I just take the whole darn thing and smush it, because that gives it, I think, sometimes a more organic look than you're going to get with doing it another way. So that's just me, though. That's kind of my way of doing it. I think that's probably the lazy crafter's way of doing it. Oh well. So anyhow, that is our flower. And now this spiral is actually going to go in the center of our flower. And this is on the Flower Shop cartridge for crickets. But I know that there are dies that you can use in your Cuddle Bug, your Big Shot, whatever it is that you've got, that will cut something similar to this and make something similar to this. So the way that you do these, and I always just roll toward me, is that you just start at the outside and you roll these up. And I try to kind of get it round. I don't want to just roll it flat along the petals. See, my fingers are really cold. I don't want to just roll it flat. I want it to be round because this is what is ultimately going to make a really pretty center on our flower. And we're making this flower for a specific card, and that video will be shot here shortly, but I am going to have to go upstairs and thaw out for a little while before I do that. All right, so we're just rolling, rolling, rolling. I'm keeping the bottom flat, and I'm sure that you can hardly see this because you've got to kind of keep your fingers all over it to keep it where it needs to be. All right, until you get to this little bulb in the middle, and that is where we are going to take another glue dot, and we're going to put this glue dot on the inside toward the flower. And keep rolling it around and then smush that down on the bottom. So you see we just rolled it around until we got to that blob in the middle. We put a glue dot on the back side of it and smushed it down on the bottom of the flower. And so now we have this neat little, oh gosh, am I in frame? Okay, so now we have this neat little spiral flower, and you can do kind of the same thing with this one. You don't have to roll it this tight. You'll wind up with something that looks different if you don't roll it this tight. But we wanted to make sure that it fit into the center of our other flower, because what we're going to do is glue him right in the center of that flower. And so I think, though, and we'll see if a mini glue dot will hold him. I was going to use a bigger glue dot, but they seem to be holding extremely well. So I just put a little glue dot on the bottom of that. Now I'm going to set it in the center of my flower, and well, gosh, yeah, that's holding really well. Okay, and so that is my little yellow flower with pink edges, and I'll fluff him up and play with him and get him looking exactly the way that I want. But that is how I make my flowers for my cards, and depending on how large you cut them with the Cricut or the Silhouette or any of that, you do have the option of cutting your flower pieces smaller, larger, not so much with the die cuts, but depending on how large or small you cut your flower pieces is how large or small your finished flower is going to be. This one's obviously 2 inches across because we started out with a 2-inch flower cut. So that's the flower. And we'll be back in the not too distant future to make a card with this guy.